What if everything you thought about being rich was wrong? We're often told financial success is the ultimate goal, but what if true wealth isn't measured in bank accounts or luxury cars? This video will challenge your perception of prosperity, revealing that the real secret to affluence lies not in what you accumulate, but in what you cultivate within. Many people believe that becoming a millionaire will solve all their problems. They think, if I earn more money, I will finally be peaceful. But life teaches us a very gentle yet powerful lesson. Money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy contentment. Let me share a simple example. There was a businessman who worked day and night. He built a big company, bought luxury cars, and lived in a beautiful house. From the outside, everyone said, wow, he has everything. But one day, he sat in his office late at night, surrounded by success, and realized he had no one to talk to. His health was weak, his family felt distant, and his mind was always anxious. At that moment, he understood something important. He was rich financially but poor emotionally. A mindful millionaire is different. A mindful millionaire knows that money is a tool, not the goal. He earns well, but he also sleeps peacefully. He plans his career, but he also nurtures his relationships. He checks his bank balance, but he also checks his heart balance. Think about this. If money alone created happiness, then the richest people would never feel lonely or stressed. But we know that's not true. Happiness comes when wealth walks hand in hand with wisdom. Mindfulness teaches us to pause, to ask ourselves, why am I running so fast? When you run without awareness, even success feels exhausting. But when you walk mindfully, even small achievements feel fulfilling. True wealth is waking up without fear. True wealth is having time for your parents. True wealth is being healthy enough to enjoy what you earn. True wealth is being grateful, not greedy. Earn money, dream big, aim high. There is nothing wrong with that. But don't sell your peace to buy things that impress people who don't even care. Become a mindful millionaire. Someone who is rich in money, rich in values, rich in relationships, and rich in inner peace. Because at the end of life, we don't count how much we earned. We remember how deeply we lived. Money has a very interesting nature. It does not change who we are. It only magnifies what already exists within us. When a person has little money, their choices are limited, so life feels constrained. When money increases, choices increase: where to live, what to eat, how to spend time, whom to support. But here's the quiet truth most people discover too late. Having more options does not automatically bring peace. In fact, for many, it brings confusion, pressure, and comparison. Without inner clarity, too many choices become a burden rather than a blessing. Money opens doors, but it does not tell us which door to walk through. That guidance does not come from wealth, it comes from wisdom, self-awareness, and values. Without those, even the best opportunities can lead to regret. We often assume happiness is hidden somewhere in the next upgrade. A bigger house, a better phone, a higher status. But happiness does not live in objects. It lives in alignment. When our outer success matches our inner priorities, we feel settled. When it doesn't, we feel restless no matter how much we earn. Money gives us the freedom to choose comfort, but it does not teach us when comfort becomes excess. It allows us to buy silence, but not inner calm. Many people can afford vacations, yet their minds never rest. This happens because happiness is not a financial skill, it is an emotional and spiritual one. Wisdom teaches us how much is enough, when to stop, and what truly matters once survival is no longer the issue. Imagine giving a sharp knife to a child. The knife itself is not dangerous, the lack of understanding is. In the same way, money in the hands of an unaware mind can slowly harm peace, relationships, and health. With money, one can choose indulgence over discipline, ego over humility, speed over balance. Wisdom acts like a steady hand. It knows when to use the knife and when to put it down. A wise person understands that every financial decision is also a life decision. Where you invest your money is often where you invest your time, attention, and energy. And ultimately, that investment shapes the quality of your life, not just your lifestyle. Happiness is deeply connected to purpose. When money supports purpose, it feels meaningful. When money replaces purpose, it feels empty. Many people retire rich and then ask, now what? Because all their meaning was attached to earning, not living. Wisdom helps us remember that money should serve life, not consume it. It allows us to use wealth to create time, not just possessions. Time for family, time for health, time for silence. Without wisdom, people spend their best years earning money and their remaining years spending it on doctors, stress recovery, and regret. The tragedy is not lack of money, it is lack of awareness while having it. There is also the subtle trap of comparison. Money increases exposure to lifestyles, social circles, and expectations. Without wisdom, comparison becomes automatic and endless. No matter how much one earns, someone else always seems to have more. This creates a moving finish line, where satisfaction is postponed forever. Wisdom gently reminds us that life is not a race and fulfillment is not competitive. A wise mind measures success internally by peace, integrity, and growth, rather than externally. Money may decide what you can afford, but wisdom decides what you should desire. When wisdom guides choices, money becomes a powerful force for good. It can reduce suffering, support education, uplift families, and create stability. But wisdom also knows that generosity is not about quantity, it is about intention. A small amount given with compassion can bring more joy than a large amount given for validation. Money gives the ability to help, but wisdom gives the desire to help. This is why some people with modest incomes live deeply fulfilling lives, while others with massive wealth feel hollow. The difference is not the bank balance, it is the balance of the mind. In the end, happiness is not something money delivers, it is something we cultivate. Money can remove obstacles, but it cannot build inner strength. Wisdom teaches us how to sit with ourselves, how to enjoy what we have, and how to remain grounded when we have more. A mindful person uses money like a good servant, not like a demanding master. When choices are guided by wisdom, wealth becomes light, supportive, and liberating. Without wisdom, even abundance feels heavy. That is why true richness is not measured by how many options you have, but by how peacefully you choose among them. Success is often celebrated loudly by the world, but its impact is felt quietly inside the mind. When people achieve milestones without understanding themselves, the applause from outside cannot silence the noise within. Self-awareness is the ability to notice what success is doing to you, your emotions, your relationships, your health, your values. Without it, achievement becomes mechanical. You keep winning, but you don't feel fulfilled. You keep progressing, but you don't feel present. Silent suffering begins when the outer life looks impressive, but the inner life feels disconnected. And because the world sees only the trophies, the suffering goes unnoticed, even by the person experiencing it. Many people confuse motion with meaning. They stay busy, productive, and ambitious, but never pause to ask why they are chasing what they are chasing. Self-awareness creates that pause. Without it, success becomes a habit, not a choice. You wake up every day doing what you once decided but no longer question. Over time, the heart feels tired even when the mind is active. This is how success turns heavy. It starts demanding more time, more sacrifice, more compromise, until life feels owned by achievement rather than enriched by it. Silent suffering is not dramatic. It is slow and dull, like living on autopilot. A lack of self-awareness also weakens relationships. When success grows, ego often grows with it. Unless checked by humility, people stop listening, start defending, and mistake authority for wisdom. Family conversations become transactional, friendships become conditional, and empathy slowly fades. From the outside, everything looks stable. From the inside, connection feels thin. Self-awareness helps a person notice when they are becoming distant, impatient, or emotionally unavailable. Without it, success isolates rather than supports. And loneliness is one of the most painful forms of silent suffering, especially when surrounded by people. Health is another quiet casualty. Many successful people normalize exhaustion, stress, and neglect as part of ambition. Without self-awareness, warning signs are ignored: poor sleep, irritability, anxiety, loss of joy. The body whispers before it screams, but an unaware mind keeps pushing. Success then becomes expensive, paid for with energy, immunity, and peace. Self-awareness teaches us to read these signals early. It reminds us that productivity is not the same as vitality, and achievement is meaningless if the body carrying it is breaking down. Silent suffering often hides behind phrases like, "I'm just busy," or this is the price of success. Another hidden cost of unaware success is identity confusion. When people tie their self-worth entirely to achievement, failure or slowdown feels like a personal collapse. They are not someone who achieved success. The success. This is dangerous. Self-awareness separates who you are from what you do. Without that separation, anxiety becomes constant, because success must be defended every day. The mind lives in fear of loss, comparison, and judgment. Even winning feels stressful because it has to continue. Silent suffering grows when peace is postponed until someday, which never arrives. Self-awareness also brings honesty, a rare and uncomfortable gift. It allows us to admit when success no longer excites us, when goals feel empty, or when ambition has drifted away from values. Without this honesty, people keep climbing ladders, leaning against the wrong walls. From a distance, they look successful. From within, they feel misaligned. Silent suffering thrives in denial. Awareness shines light, and light may be uncomfortable at first, but it heals. It allows course correction before burnout, resentment, or bitterness take root. True success feels light, not loud. It energizes rather than drains. It expands awareness rather than shrinking it. Self-awareness is what makes this possible. It teaches us to succeed without losing ourselves, to grow without becoming rigid, and to achieve without disconnecting from joy. When success is guided by awareness, it becomes a source of contribution and peace. When it isn't, achievement turns into a lonely performance. And the greatest tragedy is not failing in life, but succeeding in a way that quietly makes us miserable. As income grows, life visibly improves, comfort increases, options expand, and struggles that once felt heavy slowly fade into the background. But there is a quiet danger hidden in this progress. When gratitude does not grow at the same pace as income, satisfaction quietly leaks out of life. What once felt like a luxury becomes normal. What once brought excitement becomes expected. The mind adapts quickly to improvement, but the heart needs conscious reminders to feel thankful. Without gratitude, growth loses its sweetness. Income can double, triple, or multiply, yet joy remains unchanged because the inner lens through which life is viewed has not evolved. Dissatisfaction then becomes permanent, not because life is lacking, but because appreciation is missing. Gratitude is not about denying ambition, it is about anchoring it. A grateful mind can desire more without feeling empty in the present. An ungrateful mind turns progress into pressure. As income increases, expectations increase alongside it. Lifestyle expands, social comparison intensifies, and contentment is constantly postponed. The mind begins to say, "This is not enough," regardless of how much arrives. Gratitude slows this mental hunger. It reminds us that today's normal was yesterday's dream. Without that reminder, abundance feels strangely insufficient, and dissatisfaction becomes a constant background noise, subtle but persistent. One of the reasons dissatisfaction becomes permanent is because the finish line keeps moving. When gratitude is low, achievement is never absorbed, it is immediately replaced by the next desire. A raise leads to a bigger expense. A new possession leads to a higher standard. There is no pause to enjoy, only a push to upgrade. Gratitude creates that pause. It allows the mind to rest in what is already present. Without it, income growth feels like running on a treadmill. Exhausting effort with no sense of arrival. The body keeps moving, but the soul feels stationary. Another hidden effect of low gratitude is entitlement. When people begin to believe they deserve everything they have, joy quietly disappears. Gratitude turns blessings into gifts. Entitlement turns them into rights. A grateful person feels enriched by small things. A peaceful morning, a healthy body, a shared meal. An entitled person overlooks these completely, focusing only on what is missing. As income rises, entitlement often grows unless consciously countered. This creates dissatisfaction even in abundance. The mind becomes skilled at spotting flaws instead of blessings, gaps instead of grace. Gratitude also protects relationships from the corrosive effects of success. When income grows without gratitude, people often forget the support, sacrifices, and timing that made that growth possible. They begin to credit only effort, ignoring grace. This can create arrogance, distance, and emotional coldness. Gratitude keeps success human. It reminds us that no journey is walked alone. Without gratitude, success feels isolating and dissatisfaction deepens because connection weakens. Money may increase independence, but gratitude preserves belonging. There is also an internal exhaustion that comes from constant wanting. When gratitude is absent, the mind is never satisfied with enough. It always wants more, not out of inspiration, but out of restlessness. This creates chronic dissatisfaction, a feeling that life is incomplete even when it is full. Gratitude teaches the mind to appreciate sufficiency. It says, "This moment is okay." That single realization is deeply healing. Without it, income growth feeds anxiety instead of peace, because desire is never fulfilled, only fed. In the end, gratitude is what allows income to enhance happiness rather than replace it. Money improves the quality of living, but gratitude improves the quality of experiencing. When gratitude grows alongside income, success feels light, generous, and nourishing. When it doesn't, dissatisfaction settles in permanently, like a shadow that never leaves, no matter how bright life becomes. True wealth is not measured by how much more we want, but by how deeply we appreciate what is already here. Modern society quietly teaches us that richness is accumulation. More savings, more assets, more recognition, more control. From a very young age, we are trained to measure success by quantity. How much we own, how much we earn, how much we can display. But life gently reveals a different truth with time. Ownership comes with weight. Every new possession demands attention, protection, comparison, and maintenance. The more we own, the more life asks from us. True richness, however, feels light. It is not about how much comes into our life, but how little we require to feel content. A person who needs very little to feel peaceful carries a rare freedom that no amount of wealth can buy. Needs are often confused with desires. Needs are few, desires are endless. The problem begins when desires are mistaken for necessities. What was once optional slowly becomes essential, and comfort quietly turns into dependency. This is how abundance creates anxiety. When happiness depends on external conditions, peace becomes fragile. A rich person who needs too much lives in constant fear of loss. A person who needs little lives with ease because their joy is not easily threatened. The richest person is not surrounded by things. They are surrounded by simplicity. Their happiness does not require perfect conditions, only presence. There is a silent power in minimal need. When you need less, you are harder to control, harder to impress, and harder to disturb. You do not chase approval because your worth is not tied to validation. You do not overwork to maintain appearances. You do not panic when circumstances shift. This inner independence is a form of wealth far greater than financial security. Money protects you from certain problems. Reduced need protects you from many. The person who needs the least has already won a significant part of life's game. Needing less does not mean rejecting comfort or living without ambition. It means choosing consciously rather than compulsively. It means asking, does this add value to my life or just noise? Wisdom helps us distinguish between what supports us and what distracts us. Many people own things they rarely use, chase goals they no longer believe in, and maintain lifestyles they secretly resent. Their wealth becomes a responsibility rather than a resource. The truly rich simplify not because they cannot afford more, but because they understand the cost of excess. Another dimension of needing less is emotional. When we need constant praise, reassurance, or superiority, we become dependent on others for inner stability. This is a subtle poverty. The richest emotional state is self-sufficiency, the ability to sit with oneself without discomfort. A person who needs little emotionally is calm in criticism and humble in praise. Their sense of self does not rise and fall with opinions. This inner steadiness creates a dignity that no external success can replicate. Needing less also deepens gratitude. When expectations are low, appreciation rises naturally. Small joys feel sufficient, ordinary moments feel complete. Life stops feeling like a negotiation and starts feeling like a gift. Many wealthy people miss this because their baseline expectation is high. They are surrounded by comfort, yet untouched by joy. The richest person, in contrast, can enjoy simplicity deeply. Their happiness is portable. It does not depend on location, status, or circumstance. In the end, life asks us a quiet question: how much is enough? Those who never answer it spend their lives accumulating without arriving. Those who answer it wisely experience a rare peace. The richest person is not defined by what they have stored away, but by what they no longer need to chase. When desire becomes disciplined and needs become few, life opens up, freedom increases, joy stabilizes, and wealth finally serves its true purpose, supporting a life that feels complete, not crowded.